Morning, everyone. A couple of announcements this morning, a show note and a personal note. First, my show note. Canada Poly will be live on July 19th, and I will be interviewing for an hour Mr. Bernier, and then we're going to have a half hour of questions and answers. So I'm really very excited about this. Further details coming. Tickets will be $20 a piece, and you will be able to find them on ppcguelph.ca or markperolivis.com. And so I'm very excited about this. I am very I have a whole structure for what I want the interview to touch on and to hear about from Mr. Bernier, and I'm very excited to have a good long time to dig into some really meaty topics. So very exciting. I hope you can come. I hope if you want to come that you can come. So it'll be in Guelph. And details to follow. And the second show note is, if you want to see, it's not a show note, it's a personal note. If you want to see, and it doesn't matter what political party you support, regardless of the party you support, if you want to see a result, if you want to see something specific happen in this election, then you need to contact your EDA or somebody in your riding and get involved. And if you can't, contact headquarters of the People's Party or whichever party that you are interested in and say, where's my candidate? I want to help. I want to get involved. And they will send your name to the person who can make that happen. It is important. Door knocking is happening. The other day, I was door knocking and I saw a team of other door knockers and I counted them and I was like, oh my goodness, they've got a lot of people door knocking. There was a couple of more people than I had. And I thought that was interesting, right? So, got to take note. People are mobilized. If you're interested, if you want to see a result, get involved. Donate a bit of your time. Go out there and knock doors and talk to people. Everybody I've spoken to has been respectful. Everybody I've spoken to has been supportive, with the exception of a few people who weren't. But they were still respectful when they weren't. And it was okay that we disagreed. It's interesting. And really, there's nothing more powerful than knocking on a door and having a conversation with somebody respectfully and either having them say, oh, I'll check it out, thanks, or not for me, have a good night. It's interesting and worthwhile. And I really recommend spending your time that way if this is important to you. It's important to me. And so that's what I'm doing. Anyway, I hope you can make it on the 19th. And on with the show. Here we go. Haha, CBC. I didn't think I could do the announcement of me interviewing Bernier with this on the screen. I tried it a couple of times. I was like, this isn't working for me. However, the meme says CBC then, and there's, lots of serious looking things with a serious looking person talking about, well, it looks like news. And then CBC now, it's got what appears to be a little girl being very sexual at a white backdrop. It's kind of interesting. And man, we're going to watch it. But first, Mr. Bernier's response on the drag kids article. I can't believe this is real, by the way. And he says, well, I believe Bernier's response is real, but I can't believe this drag kid thing is real. It's wild. He says, defund CBC. And I can't agree more. And I thought I already retweeted this, but I'm going to retweet it again right now. There we go. And here it is. This is wild. Here's the part in question. The point of this is not trans people are bad, drag queens are bad, or any of those things. Once you are an adult, please do whatever you would like to do. Sexualizing children on a public broadcaster using tax dollars to push this should be criminal. I can't believe this is allowed to be broadcast anywhere. If I had a child that was that age, close to that age, a tween or old enough to understand what they're looking at, I would show this as an example of very bad choice by somebody who runs a television network when they were old enough to understand what they were watching. This is crazy here. In what way? Look, that says Kids CBC. What? CBC News. That is offensive. And I can't, is there a lawyer willing to take a class action lawsuit against this? This is incredible. This is damaging. I can't believe this is okay. So this incites me. This triggers me no end. Knowing that kids are impressionable and knowing that under 12, These kids probably have not entered puberty, have absolutely no idea what they're agreeing to, and have adults cheering them on with an entire television network tweeting and cheering them on? What in the world are we standing silently by and allowing these unbelievably influential people to do to our children? What is happening? This is crazy. That was a little boy sexually dancing around, I think, based on everything I've seen, and I have not watched the rest of the clip for fear of vomiting in my mouth. Okay, let's get back to politics. Here's Bob Rae, and he's taking offense with CBC News displaying the 4th of July celebrations. How dare they? Here's Bob Rae, he says, quote, "So let me understand this. None of the major networks in the US is covering this, but the CBC is?" Yep. And this is the 4th of July. Here's the tweet. The 4th of July for Donald Trump in the rain. Trump's 4th of July salute to America. I think he named every single branch of the military, and he didn't really talk about himself very much, did he? Very interesting. Very interesting. Here is Catherine McKenna, and I covered this story the other day, and I saw, the reason I'm showing you this is for the next tweet. Here we go. She says, quote, "There's a lot to love about Ottawa, including our tap water. Did you know it's rated among the best in the world? I'm always carrying reusable water bottles around to reduce plastic waste. So it's good to know I can reuse Ottawa's tap water when I need a refill. Hashtag 10,000 changes." And here is Cyara Bird, and she says, "At Catherine McKenna, before you brag about your amazing tap water, take a hard look at the crisis in our reserves. Some people have open sores because the water is so bad. My reserve went without water for weeks. We had no acknowledgement or help from the Liberals. Are you clueless?" It seems like they're clueless. Have you seen this? This is not Canada, and potentially should have been earlier in the show, so I apologize, but this is the Hong Kong Government Assembly, and that's a whole bunch of protesters using graffiti in it. So yeah, Hong Kong, this is about extradition to China, and this is some very serious stuff. Very serious stuff. Where's the CBC coverage? My goodness. Here's back to Liberal politics. This happened last week, and I tagged it, and I thought, I'm going to let this story mature. There's something here. Do you remember originally there was 2 Liberals who stepped down on the same day? One of them was Mr. Tan. Yes, Zheng Tang. Sorry if I've got that wrong. But he stepped down really suddenly. He was like, yeah, I'm going to go spend time with my family. And I thought, man, there's something more to that. So I didn't report on it then. So here we go. The rest of the story, the other shoe has dropped. And it's a doozy. It's really interesting. This is wild. Liberal MP Tan's wife eyes party nomination in wake of his decision not to seek re-election to spend time with family. This is the Hill Times reporting. So there are 3 people seeking Liberal nominations in the GTA riding of Don Valley North. The nomination opened up last month when Liberal MP Zheng Tang, sorry if I got that wrong, announced that he won't seek re-election to spend more time with his family. Photographed courtesy of whoever. Rookie Liberal MP Zheng Tang unexpectedly announced last month that he won't seek re-election in the fall to spend more time with his family, but in a surprising development this week, his wife launched her bid for the party nomination to succeed him in their GTA riding. In a statement, Mr. Tan's wife, Dr. Laura Wang, I believe that's how you say that, a scientist with Environment Canada, confirmed with the Hill Times that she's a contender for the nomination. "I'm standing for the Liberal nomination in the riding of Don Valley North as an independent woman," the statement said, but presumably for the Liberals. I think she's saying independent of like her husband, but for the Liberals. So that is kind of a weird statement. But anyway, the statement said, Mr. Tan, who was the party's confirmed candidate until he announced his decision to leave politics in June, did not respond to interview requests. He posted a statement on Facebook on June 16th saying that it was time for him to spend more time with family and pursue other careers. So I scroll down because it just kind of goes through his statement on Facebook there, and that doesn't really matter. The Hill Times first reported on June 25th that his former constituency office staffer and alleged girlfriend, Ying Stella Yu, who's 54, sent 2 letters from her lawyers to Mr. Tan in which she alleged that she had an extramarital affair with the MP. She also alleges that Mr. Tan fathered a baby girl, now 2 years old, and that he refuses to pay child support. Ms. Yu claims that she was fired from her job without cause after 6 months of employment because Mr. Wang did not want her to stay on as an employee. Sorry, not Mr. Miss Wang, the wife of Mr. Tan, to be clear. Mr. Tan has denied the allegations. None of the allegations leveled by Miss Yu have been tested in court. Based on an MP's base salary of $170,000 per year, Miss Yu demanded a monthly child support of $1,443. She claimed she was earning $200,000 prior to 2015, but gave up her lucrative career in real estate and finance to support Mr. Tan, 55, who had promised her a life together and to look after her financial needs. Since her dismissal from the constituency office, Miss Yu said she had been suffering from a deep depression, anxiety, and has attempted suicide on 4 occasions. In a brief interview with the Hill Times on Sunday, June 23rd, Mr. Tan said he was, quote, a sperm donor, but declined to get into any details or to take any more questions. He said that he was working on a legal response to refute Ms. Yu's allegations. Quote, there was a sperm donation, said Mr. Tan, who holds a PhD in chemical engineering and applied chemistry. That's all I can tell you at the moment. Ms. Yu told the Hill Times that Mr. Tan is the sperm donor because she could not conceive naturally. She alleged that they had a relationship that lasted about 5 years from 2013 to 2018. In a statement text to the Hill Times, Ms. Huang did not specifically respond to allegations from Miss Yu, but said she's aware of, quote, the facts of the story, adding she speaks for only herself and not for Mr. Tan. Ms. Wang also hoped that Canadians would not judge her based on allegations against Mr. Tan. Quote, I don't speak for my partner and he does not speak for me, said Ms. Wang. In politics, we have seen too many times a woman standing quietly behind the man when things go wrong. It's time for a change and for a strong woman to stand in front in difficult times. I place my trust in Canadians to never judge a woman based on the actions of a man. I stand for nomination as a woman, mother, and wife. I stand as my own woman. She said she's choosing not to comment to protect the privacy of all individuals involved, including the young child. The child is 2. So this Miss Yu had the child when she was 52 years old, which is incredible. No wonder there was a sperm donation, but that doesn't prove a relationship. So this is, right? Interesting. Crazy. What twists and turns will come next? This liberal government is wow. And remember, yesterday, when China called Canada naive in thinking that having our friends across the world, including Donald Trump, speak on our behalf is a bad thing, or that they're only paying lip service, etc. Well, Mr. Trudeau has fired back. And, well, here we go. CTV News is reporting, quote, Trudeau shoots back at China, claim it is being naive in courting allies. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Thursday that President Donald Trump made good on his pledge to raise the plight of the 2 Canadians imprisoned in China with President Xi Jinping. Trudeau said Trump did raise the case of Michael Korvig and Michael Spavor with Xi during their meeting at the G20 Leaders Summit in Japan this past weekend, just as he pledged to do in their White House meeting last month. I can confirm now that Mr. Trump did speak to his Chinese counterpart about the detainees, Trudeau told reporters at a transit announcement in Montreal. It was clear from public comments by the leaders as the summit was wrapping and the days since then whether that actually occurred. Trudeau later said that he was confident Trump had done as he'd promised. In a statement, U.S. Ambassador Kelly Craft confirmed on Thursday night that Trump discussed the 2 in his meeting with Xi in Japan. Trudeau also shot back at Chinese government spokesman who accused Canada on Wednesday of being naive and assuming that Trump did it any favors by raising the matter with Xi. Mr. Shuang, a spokesman for China's foreign ministry, twice derided Canada for relying on, quote, a so-called ally, and said China would allow no interference in its affairs, according to a transcript of a briefing released by the ministry. On the contrary, what we're seeing really is that our allies are helping us and showing they're concerned about the behavior of China towards Canada, Trudeau said Thursday. Our allies know it's now time to come together to support the values that we share, the rule of law as well. We'll continue to work with our allies to demonstrate to our Chinese partners that we will remain firm, steadfast, and we will continue to defend the rule of law and Canadian safety. Trudeau said Canada, the U.S., and others are telling China they're all concerned about its behavior and that it needs to follow the rule of law and other international standards. And the fact that there are so many people, not just the United States, but others, who are speaking clearly and strongly to China that this behavior is not in their interest, not in China's interest, and not indeed in keeping with the peace and security and the rules-based order that we've established in the world. It's a very important and effective message. I'm surprised at the end there he didn't just add rule of law one more time. Ridiculous. Back to the article. Trudeau said Canada, along with its allies, will continue to push that message, quote, as we move forward in a global economy in which China continues and will continue to occupy a growing space, that the understanding of our rules and the rule of law, oh, there it is, and of indeed the rule-based order is something that is clearly communicated. Rule of law. Trudeau also reiterated that he had his own pull-aside conversations with Xi at the G20 and that he said were constructive as we move forward to resolve these challenges. Rule of law. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, really. It is incredible how ineffective our government is at solving problems. And even when the Chinese come out and say, yeah, actually, that's not helping because this is between us, Trudeau says, actually, it's helping. So thank you very much for your opinion, Mr. Xi. But didn't you know I'm the leader of Canada? So it's helping. Could you also say it's helping so the Canadian people believe you? Me? Huh? No. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's very, very, it seems like the way Trudeau is trying to do diplomacy, he hasn't learned from Saudi Arabia. He hasn't learned from the diplomacy by tweet. And now he's doubling down with his answering of questions and just outright refuting what Xi is saying. Like, if diplomacy requires tact, right? If somebody says XYZ, you don't. This is just like when he was talking about Trump after the G20 or the G7 in Canada in 2018. Basically, he cut his nose off despite his face, right? He made a choice that ticked Trump off and cost a lot of money for Canadian businesses, for Canadian steel. It's still not done. Like, it's really a very failed way to do diplomacy that Trudeau keeps trying to double down on. And it's really strange because he could have said, he could have placated the reporter and not talked about necessarily what he thinks she is doing or saying, or whether he thinks it helps or not. I don't understand what he gets out of this other than looking like he's strong, but it doesn't look like he's strong. He doesn't have the substance to back it up. There's nothing there, right? Like, he can't point to any other than Trump actually bringing the thing up with Xi. He can't point to anything that says, yeah, it's working. Like, look at that. Look what China just did. It's totally working. He's just saying, yeah, it's working. It's working, right? Yeah, no problem. It's working. So ridiculous. Okay. Sorry for stumbling over the last couple of words and kind of being off on this article here. I read it once, but I don't know. Weird. Anyway, strange things happen sometimes. Have a wonderful day. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca. And please, if you want to see a result, get out there and help. Knock on some doors. Offer your services. We, being the grander political parties, all of them need memes, right? Local EDAs need memes. Local EDAs need communications. Local EDAs need your skills. I promise you. They will welcome you and find something that you excel at. Dropping things off at doors, talking to people at doors, or posting on Facebook. All of these things are needed. Get involved. You won't be sorry. Probably not. Probably not. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day.